sure you're always watching, or you could miss it if they ever kiss. Those two wildflowers did what they had to do, and now they're free. And it's gonna be as wide as it can be, with no apology. 7:30 Wednesday night, they're on the air, Wildflowers. And you know you'll love the show on Facebook Live, Wildflowers. Bonnie, Scalisi, and Mandy Jones, Wildflowers.
No! welcome! You're looking live at the Wildflowers. You didn't see anything. Nobody's over there yet.
We don't know anything.
You are the man behind the curtain still, like the Wizard of Oz. This is the 38th episode of this show. Oh my God, Bonnie, 38 episodes.
Wow.
It's
and
crazy.
There were more episodes from our previous
Yeah, so
network.
it really doesn't even,
Yeah.
it's like the price of tea in China. Please share the show. If you found the show, share the show. I'm Mandy Jones, the comedian, and as always, next to me
It's Bonnie Scalisi. Hi, everybody.
we're going out of order.
Thank you for tuning in.
That's why you're looking at me like the episode number, but we didn't even say our names. Yeah, guys, we're a little out of sorts today. I had to get my password all set up. It was a whole thing. Bonnie, how you doing?
I'm good. While you're getting your thing together, I'm just going to say hello to a couple of people who are tuning in. Robin DeVito, we love you. Hi, Bill Hansen. He's saying hi to everybody. Patty Marie is saying wowie. Robin DeVito's like, here they are. Yeah, we're a little late. That's because we're setting up something special for everybody to look at in a couple of minutes. My boyfriend, Michael Steven Spielberg, is watching. Corey Marie is watching. Michelle Astor, whose podcast we were on last night, her debut podcast called Disturbed and Confused, which we had an amazing time on. She's saying, hey, there are my favorite ladies. Thank you so much again for joining me last. We love you too, Michelle. We'll always be there for you. And Robin says we're looking great. And Michael's like, it's okay. After 38 episodes, we're supposed to know your names by now.
Michael.
That's right, Michael. So we have a couple of plugs that we'd like to do.
Yes. I actually have the list from last night. You want me to run through them?
Yes,
real quick?
please. I know I'm in a show on the 29th, a John Butera show, so.
Yeah, so that's Saturday coming up, the 29th. Bonnie and I will be at round 2
Correct.
in Bohemia. Friday, the following week, June 4th, we'll be at McGuire's in Bohemia with, that show is almost sold out, so go to govs.com if you want to go to that show. On the Saturday, the following, the 5th, June 5th, Bonnie and I will be at Coasters in East Meadow for Vagisilly, which is an all-ladies lineup minus the closer and the host. What's that?
And the
Closer's a guy.
Yeah, the closer is a favorite of mine, Richard Schultes, who I love. So I'm excited about
She's
that.
an equal opportunist.
Yes.
And then on 6/7, which is a Monday, we have a free show over at G's Club in West Hempstead. There is a free spot for any
we're
comedians.
producing it.
So if you're a comedian, come put your name in the hat, and you may get a chance to perform that night, or we just can see your face, and we will put you on for the July show, because this is going to be once a month.
Once a month, Mandy and I are producing shows at G's Club in West Hempstead. We're super excited. Terry McNeely is the headliner. Michelle Fox is the host. And Bruno is tuning in, and Corey Marie is saying, I love you. Patty Marie goes, I will be in my living room tomorrow, minimum 2 drinks. Patty, we got to get you out. I'm going to tell Mandy, we got to pry you out of that living room chair and get you out into the world. So is there anything else that we want to talk about?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, so last week we had a kerfuffle when I introduced our last week's guest. So this week I made sure to discuss it so that I don't get my head ripped off. So our guest is a veteran comic, a dancer. She performs all over Vegas, D.C., Massachusetts, Philly, to name just a few. Peaches Rodriguez. We're so happy to have her.
I just want to make sure my hair looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. How do you
And of
get
course
so
I got this like low ass chair. Like they're sitting all up high and I'm low. They're like,
Oh, you
like
should've seen
5
that.
inches higher than me.
Yesterday I was on a stool that was like this, and I felt
yeah.
very
Looking
tall.
down, looking down.
Yeah. And Michelle goes, Peaches. So she knows who she knows who
Michelle.
she is. Michelle Asta.
Okay, hi
Yes.
Asta.
She has her own podcast, so she's going to be looking for guests to do her podcast, and she already has everything lined up for like. I think she said the whole summer she's all set up.
Yeah.
We go like 1 month at a time, you know,
like
like
see how we like
yeah.
in 2 weeks.
Exactly. So our topic tonight, I'm going to let you talk about the topic, but we can veer away from it. Bill Hansen is saying Peaches is from my area. Okay.
Northport?
Oh, is that where you're from?
Yeah, that's where I live
Northport's
now.
very nice. Very
Yeah.
nice.
That's where I lived before this. We rented over on Daly
Everybody
Road.
found out about it and they started moving there. It's really annoying.
Yeah, stay
So
away,
annoying.
stay away. So our topic tonight is about men and women differences in comedy, but you said we could also extend it to men and women differences in other areas. And you know, so it's kind of we're keeping it, you know, broad. We're not like narrowing it that it has to be comedy. So if you have any story that you want to weigh in, or you want to talk about something that we've talked about, and you know, put your point in, we'd love to hear from you.
Just scooch a little closer to me.
Sure. So, who wants to get started? Who has a woman? Oh, I think I'm off.
I think it's because this back leg here. There you go.
Am I in
We
the
need to
screen
be
now?
on a bench.
I'm gonna
usually
like sit on Mandy's
We
lap
usually
now.
do this before the show starts.
Before we were fine. I don't know what happened.
There's another chair over there. I want to just go through the whole house and pull stuff over and see just what looks good. I want to move your whole house around. But let's go and talk about the women's stuff. I mean, and the guys' stuff. I really think the first thing that when you step on stage as a female comic, if you don't get that funny out in like 8-10 seconds, the first setup is like 10 seconds, then the audience is not comfortable with you. The audience is, I'm going to feel guilty if she's not funny. I'm going to take it upon myself. All women, like the women in the audience are like, you better be funny because you're letting us down, you know. And I think that still exists. That still exists.
I think there's definitely like a pressure when you get up there and you see the girls look at you and they're like you said, that decision, like, are we gonna like this bitch? What's she gonna be joking about?
Well,
like,
Will Romero, who is one of my really good friends, he's watching right now.
Wow.
He's giving us a quote from George Carlin: "Women are crazy, men are stupid," which I think is hilarious. But I hate to say it, but I think that women are the worst critics of other women.
If a woman's sitting next to her boyfriend, husband, whatever, first date,
correct.
First thing you'll see, you watch their whole body language. I mean, since I know my act,
We're jealous bitches.
I know my act by heart. I know my act by heart. So I'm in the first 10 seconds, I'm judging them too. So I'm watching them, and you could see the physicality. They do this. They hook arms, and they lean into their boyfriend, and it's like, don't take my man.
Yeah.
It's a power thing. I
Yeah.
mean, and I really believe just even being a comic is a power thing. And if you're not a certain type, certain people aren't going to like you for one particular reason. If you're overbearing, they'll really hate you. If you're too feminine and too shy,
It's like you can't win. You can't win. if you're, you know, I know a lot of female comedians who are doing well, and then others who aren't doing as well are like, oh, well, they slept with that person and that's why they're doing well. And the accusations start when they didn't sleep with anybody. They just maybe networked better or whatever it is. But, you know, like to throw that out like an arrow.
It's as if just being a woman, you don't deserve it.
right.
That you had to do
you had to
something
do
that had
something
nothing
to
to
get
do
that
with
spot.
comedy.
Right.
to be up on stage, and it's something that you really can't win. It's the perfect thing.
Yeah.
You can't do this, you can't do that. So, you know, when I first started, I set down a lot of rules that I had to like just do my show, get out, didn't hang out,
Yeah.
didn't want to appear any which way.
Yeah.
Also didn't wear a lot of like sexy low cut stuff
Yeah.
or skirts on stage or whatever, so that those women that were in the audience were comfortable.
Right.
I mean, these are things. These are really real things that
The
women
men don't have to think
that
about
don't
that.
they don't even have to think about.
So our
Yeah.
friend Esther Forrester said women don't like each other and aren't forgiving. Like if a guy steals from me, I'll think he needs help. If a girl looks at me wrong, I'll be like, that bitch, we're done. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
men get angry at each other, but then they fight and it's done. Women will fight and then make
Hold
up
that,
even,
but they'll
and
hold
they'll
it
hold
again
the grudge
forever.
forever. It's so
It
true.
is so true.
And I don't know how we can fix that, but it's just I just try to be kind to people,
Right.
all people,
Right.
and if you're kind to me, I'm kind to you, and it doesn't always turn out as I would want it to.
I think maybe after the many years, because I call myself a veteran comic, after all the years that I've been in this, I'm more of the mama bear comic in the green room.
You were
The
so
person-
sweet to me. I'm just telling you.
And
you were
not just
encouraging
you,
to me.
just as everybody that I can
Yes.
be. Because if they come over and they say, "Hey, what do you think about this bit?" or "What do you think?" I'm going to give it to them. I'm not going to say, "Oh, if I hold back and I don't tell you the punchline of that joke, oh, then I'm not going to become a big star." It's not about that. It's about this camaraderie that we have as comics. We should always
to
be
help
helping
each other.
We should always be helping each
Yes.
other with punchlines, and that's the way it used to be when we first started. It was like, "Oh, here's a great punchline for the joke," and "Oh, that's great, thank you." Now it's like nobody talks.
Yeah. Everybody's like on guard. So my boyfriend Michael's saying, stop trying to please everyone. That's a guarantee for failure. Just find your own voice, and others will follow if you are good. That's
I
true,
wish
but
that was
it's
so true.
It's easy to say, but it's when somebody's calling you names behind your back, or it says, sorry, we're having trouble playing this video.
Yeah, because the
can you
video
see
just
us?
the video just went to last week's, which is I'm looking at Evan Weiss.
This is still saying that it's live here, so I don't
That's
know.
weird.
Can you guys tell us if you see us right now? Bruno is sharing the show. Thank you, Bruno. Everybody, please share the show if you haven't already. Michelle Astor saying, Robin DeVito, I know, it's so funny. Because Robin's like saying, Robin is
here we are.
saying, I'll sleep with someone to get to the number one
so
spot.
it's still working.
Robin is saying, I'll sleep with someone to get to the number one spot. But what's funny about that is Robin is not a comedian. She works for the town.
I love it. That's
And she already has a
hilarious.
great job, so she doesn't have to
Freaking
have to sleep
hilarious.
with anybody. That's really funny, Robin.
It's almost like I want to go to your page to watch this.
Yeah, go
Because,
ahead.
Yeah. it
So
seems
your mom
weird.
is saying, I can see you, but your voice is not matching up with your mouth moving.
That's weird.
Oh boy.
And Will Romero saying we're live here. Just a plug for me and Will. Will and I are doing an open mic
I want
at
to come to that.
Coasters.
Yes.
And it's this Monday and then following every other Monday. And we are doing it the Monday of Memorial Day because Will and I have no lives. So we will be having the mic that Monday as well. And it's every other Monday. And I picked Will because he's a great person. I love him. We've been friends for a really long time. And my other buddy moved to South Carolina, John Alvaro. So that's a little plug for me. Bruno is saying it's perfect on my end. And Joan Krupiasha just came in. So, as far as comedians go, I wanted to talk about all the way back. Mandy doesn't remember this.
Okay.
But this was even before I was born. Groucho Marx had a show which is in black and white.
Called?
And I called The Game Show. The game show where he smoked his cigar.
Right.
I forgot what the name of it was.
The duck came
The
down.
duck came down.
Yeah.
And you know who was a contestant on that show? Phyllis Diller.
Wow.
And she was a normal housewife. And she looked like, she dressed very prim and proper. And Groucho was interviewing her like he does all the guests.
Right.
And she said on that show, I want to be a comedian.
So it was before she ever stepped on stage.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, she might have been doing mics, but nobody knew who she was. I don't even know if they had mics back then. Whatever it was, she was writing jokes. And back then, women were just housewives.
Right.
That's all they did.
Right.
It was very rare that a woman had a career. So to see her on that
Like
show.
that. You could watch
and then
her.
watch her progression
Wow.
of, even her, she just changed how she looked. I'm going to show you a photo of her when the show is over. But she even made her hair like go up like
Crazy, the crazy, yeah,
hair.
yeah.
And she would make fun of herself as
Right.
far as how she looks, and her husband was always picking on her and
Right,
stuff.
right.
So like even back then, a woman was trying to break out of the mold
Right.
and make it in the comedy world, and she
Right.
did.
Right.
Like
I think
You Bet Your Life. Thank you, Michael.
That's perfect. Thank you.
That was it.
Exactly. So
Thank you, Joan.
So if you looked at the 1950s comedians, and that includes Joan Rivers.
Yes, I was
Okay.
going to bring up Joan Rivers, one of my favorites.
And I'm going to also bring her back to a conversation with another comedian that I had about, particularly about social media and sets and film and all that. I'll come around. You'll see
Sure.
where it goes. But self-deprecation was the way to go for women in the 50s, 60s. Toady Fields.
I don't know her.
Toady Fields.
Okay.
Overweight woman.
Roseanne Barr.
But Roseanne Barr is Toady Fields 2.0.
Okay. I'll have to watch her
As
stuff.
was actually Rosie. Rosie was more wisecracking, less so, more like a Brooklyn character. But Toady Fields was the first Brooklyn character. And it was all about how fat she was, all that kind of stuff. Every female had a self-deprecating character and a character. Like it was almost like they could never go on stage being themselves. That didn't happen until the 80s.
Yeah.
And most women before that had to be like, it was a unicorn. It was being like a woman amongst all these guys, which is why Joan Rivers in her documentary, did you see the documentary?
No, but I would love to.
I'll have to watch it now.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
I love Joan Rivers.
That's one of the things that the new like establishing women comics, it's okay to be a comedian up until you're about 40. Right?
Yeah, there is, and that's another aspect we can get into.
Right.
There's ageism. And I was at a mic.
That's new.
I was at a mic.
Yeah.
And I was watching the other comics, and I will not say the mic and I will not say the person, but a young man who's actually overweight, and I don't know who he is to judge.
Right.
He looked out at me and he goes, "You're old." And it wasn't even a joke.
Was that a comic? Was it a comedian?
It was a comedian.
It was a freaky comedian?
Yeah, with the mic in his hand.
With the mic. And I like people were like, "Ooh," and I'm thinking to myself, well, is there a punchline to that? Is there a joke to that?
Right.
Like because I was the only I was the only woman in that whole place, and I was an older woman, and that really affected me as far as going to these mics.
It's the last thing that people can be prejudiced about.
Yeah, and
really
weight. You can be prejudiced about weight too.
And the other thing is the inspiration that I have, and I had this conversation, like I was saying, with a comedian last week at an event, that both Joan Rivers and Don Rickles are two people that worked all the way into their late 70s and I think 90s. I think Don Rickles was 90s when he passed. There never used to be any age for being a comedian. As long as you got up there, grabbed the mic, and you were funny, that's it. You were good.
And Rodney Dangerfield and who's the rabbi who turned into a comedian?
I don't know.
It'll come to me. Guys out there, who's the rabbi who was the funny comedian? He was an older comic he was a rabbi first, and then I see it on mine.
It's frozen.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on
weird.
with Facebook.
Can you guys see? Can you guys see us?
Stuff is freezing up.
So Karen Stacy is saying hi to you. The guest is Peaches Rodriguez. For those of you who are tuning in, she's a very funny comedian that's been. She's telling us the inside scoop because. When did you start? Can we ask you that? Or,
Oh my gosh, it had to be mid-90s. I want to bring it back to
the characters,
to talking about the ageism, particularly with Don Rickles and Don Rickles' documentary. He said to the filmmakers, he goes, "I don't want to do a film." He goes, "I don't want to do a film about my process and what I'm doing." He goes, if we do a film together, you can only show 15 minutes of my actual on-stage act. And he capped it at 15 minutes. And they said, why? And he said, because that's how I make my living. People come to see me. They come to see me live.
Right.
And they don't want to just, I'm not
See the
putting
same
my
thing.
act out there for like, $8 when they're supposed to come to see me in Las Vegas and in Atlantic City and all these little cabarets that I travel to. That was his living.
Yeah.
That way, I mean, a lot of people don't realize that films, television, and all the commercials and all that stuff, that's an advertisement for your live events. Your live events is what you should be pursuing. When you go to a Ramada Inn and there's 300 people there, that's the real deal. Not the film that you did. The film is the ad for the live stuff.
Right.
And so it puts things in perspective. It was the same thing.
Absolutely.
It was the same thing with Joan. It was the same. She didn't want to put too much of her act in the actual film. She wanted people to come and pay to see her, which is what our responsibility is. When the people come to see you, have an act. Do 45 minutes and be an event. You want to be an event when people come to see you.
Right.
You don't want to just be a comic who's going to do your spot on Leno. That's how old my reference is. On Tonight Show or any of the other ones. You want to have them want to come and pay to see you again and again and again.
Well, Vinny Dice Rogario is saying, Peaches, how have you been? Nancy Weems is saying that she can see us. Joe DiBari is saying, hello, girls. DJ Vinny Dice is in the house. Cedric Cooks is saying, hello, girls. Mandy, great shirt. Hair is looking good, Bonnie. Thank you, Cedric. And they're saying hi to each other. Danielle Miller is watching. And Danielle, we were just talking about you on Michelle Astor's podcast.
There
how
it is.
Sweet you were.
It's on.
How sweet you were to, bring Brandon on the dance floor at Street Fighter.
See, I'm still coming up with Evans. Every time I share it, it comes up Evans.
This is what's going on.
I know, that's so weird.
So, so we're talking, if you came in late, this is Peaches Rodriguez, and we're talking about women in comedy. And there's a lot of different issues that come up with women and in comedy.
Right.
So far we've talked about how it progressed from women as comedians always having to play a character.
Right.
Now, another one that comes to mind is Lucille Ball.
Right.
And how, if you saw photos of her, how beautiful she was.
Oh, yeah.
But the way she made herself up.
She went over with the
the
lipstick.
As she got
like
older,
it was like
oh my
this
God. But even on the
angel bow lipstick.
Yes.
And her hair was like accentuated red. She knew, she was
Yes.
real smart about that because she knew about cameras.
Yeah.
She knew how cameras like super hyped the color when it finally came into color and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, she knew how to do her stuff. She was really, really genius. Her and her husband. I mean, they created film techniques.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
The studios. She
owned
her own studio. They end up owning their own tapes. Genius stuff.
Genius.
I mean,
but she was I believe, a stand-up comedian first, and then she had a show.
I never knew that. I always thought she was a character
I might be wrong
actress.
about that.
I remember her as a dancer.
Yeah, because she played a funny character on a show, but
Yeah.
I don't know if she actually had a stand-up routine or how she ended up in that role.
But
she was.
Do you know any about this? You're just too young.
No, I love Lucille Ball actually. And I actually have been recently seeing some of her other stuff other than I Love Lucy stuff, old songs. I never knew she was a singer.
She was a singer, a
and
dancer. Well,
she tried everything.
And that it's not about trying everything. In that era, when you were coming up in the 20s, 30s, 40s, you had to do everything.
Right,
you had to dance,
Mm-hmm.
you had to sing, and you had to do what was called patter. They didn't call it comedy back then. They called it patter.
Okay.
So, and that came from vaudeville, where every person had to switch around and do all these different acts. So somebody had to do the hoofer. So you had to know tap. You had to know crazy dance, jazz, and they had even substrata dances from that too. And there's all kinds of like phraseology that we kind of still use. Something called traveling music. And when you're watching like a black comedy show and the black act is introduced, and then there's some music between the person walking out and getting to center stage. That's called traveling music. That came from Broadway. I mean, there's just so much history to comedy that a lot of people don't know.
It's true.
Yeah.
Mandy and I did a show that was so hilarious in Staten Island. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Do you remember how what they did in between the comics?
Oh yeah, they had.
Oh my God.
A drummer with a full drum
A
kit.
drum-
I
That
love
was
that
the
stuff.
Every
I
time
love
you
that
said,
stuff.
you know, a joke.
and it was so loud, and
Pull
I
out a gun and shoot the guy.
it was so loud.
It was crazy.
And I have a hearing loss, and I'm a drummer, and even I, like, the minute they were the minute
That's called a rim shot, honey.
oh my god, it was like
Now a rim shot is a whole different.
now the rim shot has a
Whole different
special different meaning in the Urban Dictionary.
Yeah. I
So
forget
so
the guy's
Robin
name, Frankie, maybe.
Robin DeVito is bringing up somebody who actually was on my list also, is Carol Burnett. And now Carol Burnett, she ended up having her own variety show. I don't really know how she got started,
Right.
but she was another very strong woman.
But if you're talking about particular styles going from stand-up per se and sketch, so Carol Burnett.
she was a stand-up because
Yeah,
my
yeah.
father worked with her. My father was
Your father was an entertainer?
No, my father had a summer job in the back when everybody used to go
Catskills?
upstate in the Catskills. I
Catskills.
forgot the name of the place, and he would help. Not only was he the tennis director, but he had to like help get the stage set up, and so he worked with Don Adams, Carol Burnett,
All the classics.
all the classics,
All the
They
Friars
used-
Club people.
That's where they started. Was
Yes,
the
there you go,
Catskills.
yeah.
So she did have a stand-up routine. I don't know how she got from there to have her own variety
Yeah,
show,
yeah.
but obviously went on for
But
years.
I had never really seen her do stand-up other than the little monologue that she does kind of up front, where she was never really that funny. She got funny
she's not one
in
of
the
my
sketch.
favorites.
No,
honestly.
I mean, she got funny in the sketches.
I didn't not like her, but I didn't really think she was that. I love Joan Rivers. I love Roseanne Barr.
Yeah.
Carol Burnett, I know that she's very popular and she's very famous, but I never thought she was that funny.
Right.
But other people
sketches,
did.
yeah. I mean,
Now, Patty Marie, what does Dirty Dancing have to do with anything?
I know what she was thinking about. I was trying to
because
think.
when you
Your
were talking about
Catskills.
dancing.
You were talking about the Catskills. You're like, your dad was
Oh,
the
right,
character in the
Catskills. Okay, now I get it. I get it.
The
Yes.
fat guy, like owner character, was your dad.
No, my dad had.
So your baby.
My dad was very good looking.
Oh, really?
Back in the day.
Back in the day?
Back in the day, he was very.
That's
good
funny.
looking.
I was thinking the exact same thing that she was thinking at the exact same time, but I was like, should I mention the Dirty Dancing?
Dirty Dancing,
yeah.
But
so how did you become a dancer?
I was a dancer first.
Okay.
Okay. So both my parents were dancers.
Okay.
Ooh.
My mother is from New Bedford, Massachusetts, and my father is from Mexico. And they met when my father came to this country and joined the armed forces, and they met at a ballroom and dancing. So the two of them
I
met
always
on
wanted
the
to do
dance
That's
floor.
so cool.
On the dance
I think
floor.
that's so romantic.
But like, like back in those days, full orchestras, like full Latin orchestra, like Desi Arnaz, like that kind of stuff. So my mom and dad both were so growing up from all the way up, I was a dancer. So when came time after I graduated school, I wanted to go to New York and become a dancer, and just kind of strangely enough, I got so good at it that people hired me for jobs like background dancer for rappers and all that stuff. And I traveled the world.
And you were telling us about this video you had that went viral.
Right.
And that's why we were a little late, is because we were setting up the link to
Well,
this.
let me set up that.
Yes.
So when I got to New York, it was the early 80s, so 82. I got there at the perfect time when hip hop was in its infancy and fell in with all the original dancers from Beat Street, all of those feature films right there. I was in the midst of that and got into Beat Street, the feature film and commercials and all of that stuff. So I was blessed to be at like the golden era of that. And also I, was part of the crews that created that style of dance. That being so, at one point in the mid 80s, I tore my ligament at an event. I tore one of my knee ligaments at an event. And luckily I had been just playing around with improv. I was in an improv group. So within the improv group, I had taken copious notes and said, okay, well, when our improv group, because we were so many egos, there were all these egos. When it broke up, I ended up going off on my own with all these great notes. And that's kind of like how the dance into the improv group, into the solo So it had a flow to it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
Michelle Astor is saying she loves your energy, and Robin DeVito said that wow, I like Peaches a lot. She's so smart and interesting, and absolutely she is.
one of the things that my
Is that
what was
thunder?
Yeah, thunder.
Oh
Yo,
my
you
God,
guys
it's
are-
thundering out. Maybe
Oh
that's why there's such
no!
a problem
I left my
with it.
Adirondack chairs out. I just painted them and I didn't shellac them.
Oh no!
They're gonna-
Text your significant other to bring them in.
He's somewhere else.
Oh no!
Oh, this is going to be a horrible thing. They're going to be
It
like,
didn't
oh,
have rain in the forecast tonight.
exactly. What is that? That's weird.
Yeah, I didn't know. And honestly, I was thinking about it. Every Wednesday it rains. Like we were saying that we've done 30
That's good for our
episodes of the
podcast.
show.
That's
Like
excellent.
80 something really, and every Wednesday.
What?
If you pay attention,
That's
it
weird.
rains.
Yeah, almost-
It's
I don't-
That's a
weird.
conspiracy theory. They make it rain every Wednesday.
It's weird, man. Start paying attention.
So
Yeah,
this
let
video.
me set up the video. So, being in this sort of, I'm one of the pioneers of the style of the actual dance. So that's how long I've been doing it,
Okay.
which is popping and locking and electric boogie and all that stuff, like all that stuff, Beat Street, electric boogaloo, all that kind of crap. I'm one of the very, very few women that was in it and still does it.
Cool.
So for me, it's like doing Tai Chi. Like I'm going to do it the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I say that I was a dancer first before I was a comedian. And so it'll always be sort of in my life, it'll be part of my toolbox with comedy. It'll just always be there. So now fast forward, I was dancing with a friend at an event doing this style of dance, and they took a video of it about 3 or 4 years ago. And in this video, people seem to just love this one particular 20-second piece of the video. They loved it so much in France when a politician got elected in France that kind of looked like me. Somebody stole it,
my God.
they put it in there, and I don't know
And you hit
I don't
that
know what
on
her
your
name
face?
was. Yes, and they said
Okay.
after she wins the election, blah 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 blah,
Oh,
and
that's
she
great.
wasn't a very well liked one. So when it started going viral, people were sort of making fun of it. But when I texted the guy on Facebook, I'm like, who is this person? And he goes, oh, by the way, this is just a joke. Don't take it seriously. Da, 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 da. And then that one goes to like 70 million views. And that was 4 years ago.
Wow.
So now somebody picked up that same piece after Tiger King came out during the quarantine, and they used the exact same piece, and they had what's her name?
Carol Baskin.
Carol Baskin. They
Baskin.
put my name in there, and it's a funny song that goes along with the dance, and it absolutely, I mean, it's like perfect. That one went to 6 million views.
Wow, that's so cool.
And I was so frustrated because there you are in the middle of a quarantine. I'm kind of famous. I had everybody emailing me. Everybody was like, oh my God, you're in this video. And I'm like, yeah, but I can't tour. I can't go to nightclubs. I can't push it. I can't do anything. We're in the middle of a quarantine. So what good was it? But it's fun. And it's so cool that it's still there just for...
So we have the clip.
You're gonna
If
play
we-
it?
If we
I
could,
can't get it on here.
oh,
I'm gonna have to
rats.
do it later.
Well, she
You
could
know.
put it on her.
Worst.
We have a.
Don't worry about it.
What do you have that thing where you could put it on later?
We'll reshare it.
She has this. We have this thing that we join with
Okay.
the Wildflowers thing.
Oh, the group. Yeah.
group.
Yeah, I'll put
Oh,
it
it's
on.
on, yeah.
We'll share it.
I
in
got
there.
asked to share that.
So
I got
Adam
asked to-
Snare is saying,
on that.
Peaches, and he's saying hi. Hi, Adam. How's Florida? Hope you like it down there.
Adam Sneer.
Yeah, we miss him.
So how'd you get your nickname?
Oh, I was a baby. Like
You've always
literally,
been
I've had it.
Peaches?
Always been Peaches. It's
That's a
tortured.
beautiful name.
It tortures me all of my life.
Really?
Oh my God! Really, like your peaches want to shake your tree? Do they call you that because you're the pits?
Oh no.
Yeah, I'd like to put the fuzz on you. You're too old to be peaches. You're more like a prune.
Oh,
I mean, I've heard every single pun.
Yeah.
You know, I used to do a bit in my act. I used to say, my mom decided to call me Peaches. I mean, what did she expect me to become, like a judge or a doctor? Dr. Peaches Rodriguez, report to surgery. All rise for Judge Peaches Rodriguez. no, I'm going to end up being a stripper. You know that's either a stripper or comedian. I kind of took the one where I didn't make as much money. So. That being said.
Well, my name Bonnie, I hear Bonnie, my Bonnie lies over the ocean when I was growing up. Now people don't know that anymore.
Yeah, right.
That's like, gone.
Now they just do
and
it.
Clyde.
They do a Scottish accent. Oh, a bunny cow. She's a bunny girl.
Yeah. But there's not a lot of Bonnies, and there's definitely not a lot of Peaches.
There's a lot of black peaches from Georgia. Yeah. A lot of people say, "Oh, you're not black." I got
Mandy's more of a typical name that
totally white girl. Oh my God,
been around. Oh my God, Mandy. So as far as getting back to the ageism, what do you notice about the current? You had said you see it more like today than back in the day.
I see it with I think bookings. Like I think people would rather book a great looking female comic rather than a comic that does the job.
Yeah, so
I see it a lot.
So
you can all you have to do is scroll through posters.
It's kind of like
like well, I saw her set.
Yeah, it's kind of like the rest of the whole world. It's just like my daughter has an Instagram page, and she had herself in a bathing suit. And she's a very pretty girl. Right. She got like almost 500 likes. On her Instagram. Because she put on a bathing suit. It's
the most important thing
to the society.
Right.
To the society.
Right.
I mean, it's not just comedy. It seems to be pervasive in every aspect.
Everywhere.
And the funny part is that many of the people who are doing the judging, I don't want to get myself in trouble, but the men, a lot of them are not too much to look at. Like, and so you expect the girl to be like a 10, and you're like a 2.
Why do you think that when the Me Too movement came in, these guys flipped out? Because we were calling on their stuff, and now the next thing may end up being calling them on their ageism. It just might end up being the next thing. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. It's like one of the things that you can't really prove. Just like if somebody is looked over because of their weight.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say who, but somebody that I know said to me, like, why do you think that they didn't book me? Because I'm not pretty enough. And it broke my heart when I heard that. Because, and I had just happened to have gone and did some networking and actually went to this person's show and paid money to sit down and watch this person in a show. Right. And then they ended up asking me to be in their show. So I said it's probably because I went out of my way to, but the fact that she felt that,
of course,
broke my heart for her.
Because maybe it's real for her. Maybe it really did happen.
It might be real.
Of course. Of course.
But I wasn't going to try, make her feel badly about herself. So I just tried to make
if
an
you
excuse.
Think about it, the only reason that these guys got caught with Me Too is because there was digital. What? Because
we're hearing thundering. It's like we're talking about this and like God is coming down like, whoa. Peaches and Bonnie, you're stepping over the line.
You better not. You better not.
Better be careful what you say, or God will come in.
Every time I share this thing, I'm getting Evan's last the one from Evan last week.
It's gonna be shared once it's
done. Hilarious.
Yeah, if you put it on your page, then your friends could chime in.
I know.
Yeah.
It's actually just coming up Evan.
Well, yeah, Evan made such a splash last week that he's just rocking our world.
I love it. Look at
Mandy,
see? That's the one. I shared it and now he's on. It's so funny.
Now everybody can watch him read me a new one for introducing him the wrong way. Oh, thank you, Robin. Can everyone do what Robin did and share the show? Peaches is trying to share it.
I'm trying to share it, but it keeps coming up Evan. But I love Evan anyway.
Difficulties. I love Evan too, but he had a bad night last night. I'll give him a pass. That last week. He had a bad night and took it out on me.
We all know each other for, gosh, maybe it's going on like 20 years. So we used to be a super tight thing. But then when everybody kind of went out and did their own thing. Everybody's just kind of separated.
Yeah.
I would love to see those baseball games again. We used to have baseball games and stuff.
Yeah. I love
teams.
doing things like with
I
other
know.
comics.
I listen.
fun.
Somebody's got to be the peacemaker and bring everybody all back together
Yeah.
again. We've had a tough time, and I think seeing it. Actually, it's nice to see your face without the masks and stuff
Right.
like that. And I'm going out. Like I think I went to a comedy show night before last. It was last Saturday, and it was so cool. It was like breathing again to see everybody.
Yeah.
I think it's time. I think everybody's going to get back together again. I think we're going to have a whole renaissance of comics being with each other again and enjoying each other.
That's what it feels like. It feels like even the people that were the most nervous about it, either have the vaccine or feel,
Right,
feel
right.
safe enough out there where
Right.
it's kind of this stress levels kind of
Yeah.
removed a little bit. Because in the beginning, everybody was like, so,
It was
horrible.
weird.
And now I feel like there's some semblance of like, okay, we've navigated through this for over a year now, and this is how we do
Yeah.
it. And I feel like people do have
And
that.
I have to say something to all the comics out there, all of you. I want you to guys to get together after the show and go to diners.
Yeah.
We love that whole tradition of going to diners. I love that. I miss that. I miss the.
I hardly went to diners with people.
Did you really?
I mean, I've only been doing it 3 years, but out of those 3 years, I've only been to the diner like
Don't wait to
five
be invited.
times. Oh, see,
Don't wait to be invited.
I never go when
Lean
I'm not invited.
in.
That's probably
Where
why I
you guys
never
going? You
go.
guys going somewhere?
Just follow them in their cars. Just figure
Those two cars are going the same direction. Just follow
A few
you to the
times,
Rockefeller home.
right? A few times they've invited me, and that's the only time I ever went because
Right.
I'm very shy, and I
Right.
don't push if I'm not invited. I just don't go.
My favorite person in the world, I'm just going to say this, my favorite person in the world to be at a diner with is Rich Walker.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
the most entertaining
I went
person
to
on the
breakfast
planet.
with him
When
once.
you sit down with him, I'm like this. I'm like, it's as if the diner is his stage. He comes alive. It's just one of my favorite things.
I went to a Denny's with him with Stephen Rockefeller in the morning.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and the first thing he goes to me is, "I hate you on Facebook." But we love each other.
You really should. This is what I'm talking about.
I think
This
he's
is
one
what
of the
I'm
greatest
talking about.
people.
Everybody,
I actually do.
Everybody went into their particular corner, and then we were quarantined, and now it's time. Like
Yeah.
we got to have like a peacemaker summit where everybody just gets together and we all hug each other, just freaking hug it out, right? Don't you think?
Yeah. It's time to
It's
put the
time
baggage
for that.
aside.
It's time to have a picnic again.
Yeah.
It's time, just to kind of.
So Adam Snare says Peaches rocks. Worked with her a bunch. She's a fab for sure. I agree. I worked with her at least 2 times. One in the little room, one in another place that we will not talk about.
Wait, what about the one that we
did?
did? What are you talking about that we just talked about earlier?
That was the one we're not supposed to talk about.
Oh, okay. But there's also another. There's also.
And
Come on,
I was
man.
in the little room with you.
But also,
you were the
I think
headliner.
I've been on other shows with you, like going way back.
Yeah, I think I was.
You just don't remember.
Yeah, I've done a lot of shows and I have a terrible memory.
I know. I'm just.
But I
like,
definitely remember those 2 shows, and you were always so wonderful to me.
Aw.
Always so sweet,
Aw.
and
I try to be supportive. I
Yeah.
mean, that's all we have is
Yeah.
us.
Right.
That's all we have is each other.
and you
I
were
mean,
like, "That's your time. Like, take your time. That's your stage time." Because
Yeah.
I was like,
I mean, I
trying
can
to
say
get
that
on and
to
off the
any
stage.
comic, anywhere. When you hit that stage, and that's 7 minutes to 12 minutes to 40 minutes, whatever it is, that's all about you. Like whoever went on before you doesn't exist. Whoever is going on after you doesn't exist. Even the person that hired you doesn't exist. But you and the audience is the most important thing.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Well, it's
Really
the only advice. The
Oh.
only thing we have is our relationship to the audience.
Right.
That's
and,
our only.
and,
That's it.
I think
Yeah.
we do have to talk,
Jump in
do
there
our
real quick.
sponsor.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Who's that?
So our sponsor is Keys Love Jewelry, stainless steel jewelry, all nickel and tarnish free. Keys cutlery, knives, swords, and self-defense equipment. Excellent quality for reasonable prices. You can shop online at keyslovejewelry.com, keyscutlery.com, or you could go in person to Lala's Flea Market, 1075 Portion Road in Farmingville, 631-379-1781, and tell them Bonnie and Mandy sent you, or the Wildflowers. Is that discount still going on?
Yes, all of this month. So through May 31st, if you put Wildflowers in at checkout, whether you go online to Keys Love Jewelry or keyscutlery.com, or if you go to Lala's Flea Market in person, you put in Wildflowers or say Wildflowers to them, it is a 10% off discount.
And he had some cool self-defense equipment
Yes.
he brought on 3 weeks ago. And I bought a taser from him, which is legal in New York.
I think everyone in my family bought a stun gun that night.
It's
That's
a stun gun. It's a stun gun.
hilarious.
So Robin DeVito said,
It's illegal in South Carolina. How about where I am?
yeah, they're all like, can I own one? So Robin DeVito saying about Peaches, she's right about that. Peaches is great.
Aw.
Robin is one of our big supporters. We love Robin.
Hi, Robin.
Thank you so much, Robin. So how much time do we have left? How are
We
we
got
doing?
11 minutes. So I
Oh,
have
we've been
flashbacks.
talking that long?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
The hour goes by
Holy crap,
fast.
we didn't even scratch the
I know.
surface.
Well, we'll come back
Well,
anytime
Oh
you
my
want.
God. Let's just say, I'll tease. I'm going to tease. The thing I would be talking about is 23andMe ancestry and the
Ooh.
stuff that happened in my family.
Oh, man. Did you really do that?
I didn't
Or
do
somebody
it
did it and
in
they
my
found you?
family.
Wow.
Oh.
And it found my brother.
Oh, okay. I was
Wow.
going to ask you about siblings. Did you grow up with siblings?
I have one brother.
That you found later in life?
No. I have a brother.
Okay.
But he was a bad boy.
Okay.
And 23andMe found him.
Oh, wow.
So we have an extended family, is what I'm saying.
All
My
right.
best friend found a whole bunch of people.
Mhm.
She found her half brothers,
Mhm.
who are the I'm drawing a blank. They have the
Oh, the Winter Brothers.
Winter Brothers. She found that she's
Wow.
related to the Winter Brothers.
Winter Brothers are as in the.
Like the dumpster guys.
Dumpsters.
Oh, here I am thinking as in the
Joe
Winter
DeVito
Brothers.
thought that.
Yeah,
He
they
showed
can
me a
see it.
picture.
Yeah,
I'm like,
the guy with the long hair. The
Yeah.
guy with the long hair.
I
Yeah, I
think he was
remember
an
that.
albino. I'm like, no, not that Winter Brother. The dumpster.
The dumpster Winter Brother,
dumpster Winter
which,
Brothers.
by the way, are way more rich than
They are.
I'll bet it.
Yeah. And then she found her sister on her father's side. So she has a whole nother set of people that she just found within the last 5 years.
Let's just say two siblings contacted my brother on Father's Day a few years back.
Wow. That's
And it was
an
the
amazing
timing
story.
was genius
Yeah.
when they hey, how you doing? So my family grew exponentially, but so that just says if you're Mexican, don't do 23.
So Michelle Astor also found on doing DNA 23andMe. She was adopted as a baby, and she found her half sisters and brother.
Wow.
Yeah, that we just did her podcast yesterday.
Wow, that's
and a few cousins she
amazing.
found.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah.
But
Robin,
the thing
I'll
is,
talk about who the Winter Brothers are with you off air.
and the amazing thing is, my question for her would be, did you become friends with them? In
I
my
think she
case,
did.
it was a blessing. I became friends with these relatives.
Yeah.
And
that
now
adds to your life.
now they're in my life, which is like
Yes.
awesome sauce.
My best friend became very close with
Yeah.
her friend. They
Yeah.
they invite her to the weddings now.
That's it.
Oh my God.
That's so cool.
They have this was before the pandemic. They have the box seats at the Yankees game.
Ooh, so you
They
got
have-
blessed there. That's
yeah,
a kind of a cool
She
thing.
has all
yeah.
kinds of things.
Yeah.
So Peter Najek is tuning in. He said, I did 23andMe and all of Europe was colored in. That's funny, Peter.
Talk about having relatives that slept around.
And hi, Alan Streisfeld. He said,
Hi, Alan.
Winter Brothers created the trash folder on emails.
Trash
That's funny.
folder on email.
Just be careful. Don't diss them. You don't want to diss
That's
them.
right. You don't want to end up in one of
You
those.
don't want to end up in a dumpster.
That's true.
But do you want to plug anything or?
Well, tomorrow I'm going to be at Comedy Cove, which I haven't been in a
Ooh.
long while. You know Comedy Cove, right?
Mhm.
In Springfield. I think it's Springfield, New Jersey.
I've never been there, but I've heard a lot about it.
It's so much fun. I love it. Come out if you're my Jersey people. Come see me. I know it's going to be fun.
What time does the show start?
8:00.
8:00. That's
Yep.
awesome.
So
do you want to say anything as far as your feelings on this thing?
No, I did think of a funny story that I'll try to tell you in a
Okay.
minute. I came home from school when I was in probably 9th, 7th grade, something like that. And my mom had gotten new mattresses for, I have an older sister and a younger brother. And I have a very younger brother, but he was out of the picture. So it's just my older sister and my younger brother both have full-size mattresses, all done up. My mom has put all the new stuff on them, the new bedding. And then there's a twin-size mattress, which is significantly smaller than a full-size mattress, with no bed, totally with plastic, like in the corner. And I'm like,
the heck?
I'm like, I don't fucking care that this life is not fair, but we're not gonna show me with the size of these beds. Like, honestly, that I'm fucking smaller. I don't care. They better switch.
Nobody ever talks about that.
They better switch this out.
Nobody ever talks about that.
Crazy. And so they ended up buying me a new bed.
Hey, nobody ever talks about where they put you in the family, like where your status is. Like, dad, mom, older sibling, you get that little freaking doggy bed. You got a doggy bed.
I was like,
is what you got.
And my brother is significantly taller than me, so he did need to
doesn't mean anything. That's that was it's just mental. So right.
It's that mental space that I saw on the sides of the bed, and I remember being like, this is literally bullshit, guys.
I know.
Well, Peaches, you had talked about saying why we got into comedy, and I honestly believe that Mandy and I are very similar in the reason we got into comedy is because of our position in the family. We both have autistic brothers.
Boom.
And we always had to kind of, at least I felt like I always had to behave and be responsible and everything. My sister had issues, eating issues, and I was the good one.
Wow.
So I didn't get any attention. And I think you have not that our parents were bad parents.
It's negative attention. Definitely got attention before positive.
Yes,
but I think that's the reason that we got into comedy.
Right.
And did you?
In my case, I would say when you were talking about the positioning in your family, yes, I was the sort of like youngest one, didn't get as much attention, that kind of thing. Then when I went to school, growing up a Latina in Connecticut, super white area, got picked on a whole lot. Most of the I hate to say that, most of the girls that picked on me were very Lisa Lampanelli.
Wait, I'm drawing a blank.
Lisa, you're drawing a blank. She was in 90s insult comic. 90s insult comic. And she's from Connecticut, which is like the weirdest time around it. And we turned out to be friends. We turned out to be great friends. But that being said, I think it was one to become a voice and an advocate for being Latina, and also, hey mom, hey dad, look what I'm doing. Hey dad, and here's the sad, hardest part about all of that. When my mom passed away last May, I thought about not doing comedy for saying, well, why? What am I doing it for now? And I had a whole turnaround after, this about maybe 3 or 4 months ago, and said, she'd want me to do. She would want to be right there in the audience. She'd want to be right beside me the whole time. So that's, And I feel like after this whole thing, the mask coming off for us and, everything opening up, it's almost been this huge change in my life.
The fact that you say the mask's coming off, I feel is like a metaphor for everything. The mask is coming off.
Right.
And people, are saying how they feel. And because they feel like we might not be around. Like, this was a big eye-opener.
I have never felt that my time with my mom was so short. 15 minutes. That's what it felt like.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Appreciate your moms, man. Yeah. Appreciate your moms.
Yeah, my mom is no longer with us as well.
Yeah.
And she had Alzheimer's, so
you saw that. You saw that. Yeah.
So I lost her twice.
Yeah.
So everybody's saying what a great show it was, a fantastic guest. Thank you, Michelle. Frank is one of my Facebook friends. Hi, how are you, Frank? Peter Najek said, I'm also the youngest of my 24 first cousins and my dad's 4 kids. I'm also one of the tallest. It's the family dynamics. Peter Najek, do you know him? He's
familiar name.
He's
yeah.
the one that was in the Bagel Boss video that went viral.
Ah.
But his head was cut off because he was so tall. So if he had been a little shorter, he would have been famous.
Hey, I almost got sucked into that whole thing too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was supposed to be on that show.
And Esther Forrester said, "So sorry for your loss." Yes,
Yeah.
we're so
It was,
sorry.
there was
But I'm
a-
glad you came to the conclusion that she would want you up there making people laugh.
because
I know that's
she
what I
was an
want.
entertainer. She was one of those people, first person on the dance floor at a wedding,
Mm.
and karaoke every single week. She had whole karaoke friends. She had like karaoke discs. She like, she was the entertainer. So she would want me to continue on.
Good.
you know?
And your mother wanted to point out that she got her a full-size bed right after that.
See,
Yeah,
Mom,
let them unwrap it.
but you see, Mom is thinking about it. Mom's like, oh yeah, maybe that was wrong. Maybe oh my God.
It's true. It's like the things that we think are a big deal as parents, like probably the things that my daughter is upset over. I don't even think anything of it.
Right.
I just what's the big deal?
Right.
But it is a big deal to the person that it's happening to.
Absolutely.
And,
But then again, when your mom or your dad is gone, you realize how little that shit meant.
Right,
mhm.
It didn't mean anything. Like so much doesn't mean, like all the things that we fret about and think about and worry about, it's gone. It's evaporated once that person's gone. It's
true.
Crazy.
It's like you look back and you're like,
Like why did I get into that argument with my mom? I could have hugged her instead. It's like,
It's true. So I think that's a bit about
Yeah,
it.
that's
Thank
about
you,
it,
thank you
guys.
everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Peaches, so much for
Rodriguez.
taking the time to be with us, and you're welcome back.
I hope I subbed for Peter Bell as well.
You did.
Peter
You did.
Meow! Mandy, so meow!
No,
Peter bailed
Peter
on the show.
bailed.
I'm joking.
Pain in the ass.
No, we leveled up. We got you.
You leveled up. I love that.
Leveled up.
I love it.
Good stuff.
Women
guys.
power.
That's
Woo!
right. That's right.
Share the show. Thank you, everybody.
And I didn't have to sleep with anybody to get on this show.
See?
Oh, wait a minute. I did. Peter.